lot of people in the gacha space are contributing to the problem of elitism, and let me explain why. Elitists in these games are primarily focused on the amount of money a person has spent. The more money you spent, the more likely they are to invalidate your achievements and sabotage your fun of the game. Elitism is described as the attitude or behavior of a person who regard themselves as an elite. In our case, it's a group of people who believe they are
how much time they spent. Yeah, there's that aspect too.
Superior in terms of ability or qualities. They believe that their way of playing the game is superior to your way of playing the game. And you wouldn't understand that unless you experienced what they experienced. But let's slow down. How did we even get to this point? In the gacha space, all types of players exist. We got your whales, we got your dolphins, which are honestly just whales that made up the term dolphin to cope. And then we have your free-to-play players. These days, free-to-play players make up a large portion of all gacha gamers, but it didn't used to be this way. The gacha genre used to be pretty niche, and almost everyone in it spent money. It was not until a certain game came out during the global pandemic that caused this to change. With nothing to do and people stuck inside their homes, people flocked to the internet to find things to do. And one of these things was the massively popular gacha game from MiHoYo, Genshin Impact. Genshin quickly took over the world, attracting the mainstream audience and introducing the gacha genre to an audience that had never even heard of what a gacha was before Genshin. The size of Genshin Impact during the pandemic cannot be understated. Some of my 40-year-old uncles would come up to me during family gatherings and be like, "Oh, hey, son. Oh, hey. Do you play Genshin Impact?" What? Have you seen a girl Mona? She got a flat ass. This, in my opinion, was the starting point of when the cultures of gacha games and the cultures of normal games started to mix. For veteran gacha players, spending money is kind of just a part of the game. When a new character comes out, they're kind of just like, "Ooh, she's hot. I'm gonna get her. Ooh, he looks cool as hell. I'm gonna get him too. Ooh, she pulls her sword out of her boobies? Yeah, where's my wallet, bro?" But for most other gaming communities, this is not the case. Not at all. Spending hundreds of dollars on one single game is like committing a crime. You guys know about the $500 faker Ari skin from League of Legends, right? Well, if you get found with it in game, all 9 other players will bully you. But the funny thing is, the amount of money that people spend in other games will never compare to the amount of money that people spend on gacha games. So
it'll never compare to the cost of the shit in here.
Someone pulled 200 copies of Fei Xiao's limited weapon in Honkai style round.
Why?
What is this? Hello? So I did the math, right? And the average cost of this act of terrorism is $25,600. I guess some Chinese princes out there just get bored sometimes, I guess. The influx of new players that either can't spend money or don't want to spend money created an entire subgenre in the gacha industry, and it revolved around being a free-to-play player. Being a free-to-play player makes you relatable to other free-to-play players. Like, damn, you didn't have enough summons so you missed Aglaia? Well, I missed my 50-50 on Tribi, so I'ma skip my day and get Castrus. I think I'm gonna save up for the next 7 banners so I can get Farina's weapon on her rerun. This is how poor people have conversation. A very
it sounds really painful. And this is why, man, it's like, when you look at like them for what they really are, it is really depressing. Right? I mean, here's the thing, man. This is the reality. This is the reality, man. That's why it's like you gotta think of a different reason why you're gonna tolerate with the bullshit. Shit's why I don't bother with most of these things. I mean, always at the start, you get an influx of resources and then it dries up real quick. They always do it. That's how they manipulate you to get the first sale. It's always like this. They all do it. Right? But yeah, like again, like with Snowbreak, man, the biggest reason why I'm still even there is because they literally give me everything for free. If they didn't give me all this shit, I would have been gone a year and a half ago. I probably would have been gone at least a year and a half ago, if not longer. Like, I wouldn't even still be there. Like, I can see the thing for how it is. Yeah, I have 2 accounts on top. One is the free-to-play account that I use for messing around with things. And the other one is my actual account. Right? But again, it's like, yeah, you don't pull that often. You have to hoard for a long-ass period of time before you can start doing things. That's just the norm for a lot of these games. Right? That said, each of them have different ways of handling it. You'll have like 4 main events the entire year. They'll spend like 2,000 down the drain. What do you mean it's 2,000 down the drain? What do you mean it's 2,000? Here's the thing, man. I get way more resources for free than most people. Pulling every banner is still not feasible in Snowbreak for a single character and weapon copy. And keep in mind, their banners are guaranteed. It's still not feasible under normal circumstances. It's still not. Like, here's the thing. My free-to-play experience at Snowbreak is the same as if I was buying the most expensive battle pass tier every single patch and top it up like $200. $100 to $200. That is my free-to-play experience. Because the game developers are literally giving it to me for free. I am not even like I don't put money into Snowbreak, but they're giving me the equivalent of someone spending money every single patch. That's why I have a copy of every character in Snowbreak and every weapon for them. If they didn't do this, I wouldn't have that. Again, my experience is not the same as someone else's there. Because they do give people making content, at times, if they're in a program for it, extra resources that nobody else gets. The experience is not the same. It's not. Right? Free-to-play for me is not the same as free-to-play for you. Right? That's something to keep in mind. It's really the same as you buying the paid battle pass with the skin tier, plus spending even more money on top every single patch. I don't. Right? But again, it was pretty obvious when they're fucking doing things like sending me bags, a tapestry, a mouse pad, pins, a fucking spoon, a pair of chopsticks, and a bath towel. You know, they send me that stuff on top. They've sent me even more as well that I won't show. But like, that is my experience. It is not the same as someone else's experience. Okay? Here's the other thing too. When I went and bought the skins before they were gonna remove them, they also gave me money that basically paid for the fucking skins I bought. Actually, no. When I went on the spree to buy all the skins before they censored them and removed them for sale permanently, the amount they gave me was more than enough to buy all the skins for when I did buy skins in Snowbreak. The stuff they've sent me. It is not the same experience. Let's be real. And again, that stuff I can still tax write it off. Because I did spend it. Right? Like, that's the thing. Right? Free to play for someone involved on the other side is not the same as someone else's free to play. It's not the same. Right? I wouldn't be able to pull every single patch if I didn't have all of that. If I was actually truly free to play in Snowbreak, I could only pull a character and their weapon like once every 2.5 patches instead of every patch. It makes a massive difference. Getting that big resource income of everything. And again, like, I barely even have enough to do that when I go and do that stuff. Right? So keep that in mind. It is not the same experience. Not even close. Right? Like, it's not even close.
Popular and entertaining form of content is the free-to-play experience. How far and how well can you do in a gacha game?
But honestly though, like, the true free-to-play experience in a lot of these games is extremely miserable. Even more so when, like, core resources, core important resources that you're completely stalled out and time gated away from is put behind, let's say, a battle pass or something, right? In order to get them upgraded at a reasonable pace. Because the reality is, playing through a lot of these, especially Genshin and WuWa, is extremely painful to go and upgrade a character after you pull them. People, they don't really stop and think and look back at how their time is being spent. But if they were, and they were to realize that they're spending an ungodly amount of time just wasting away farming materials rather than actually playing the game, they might look at things differently. But then again, they also do it to just pad out and hide the fact that they don't actually have much content in there to begin with. Right? But you know, it is what it is. They do. Hoyo does it, WuWa does it, like all these freaking companies do it. They all give people like extra resources. When they're in their programs, they all do it. Some will even give more stuff like extra beta access or whatever, extra early access to things. Some will do that on top. But like, it's pretty normal, man. Like, it's pretty normal for their experience there. And then what's the other one? You know about the Game of Thrones action RPG? It's being published by Netmarble. Oh yeah, no, here's the thing, man. It's not even miserable free-to-play experience. Because the reality is the vast majority of these gacha games are already very miserable as free-to-play. It's just that Netmarble takes it to a whole new level of being miserable. But then again, that's just kind of the norm for Korean live services. They're extremely miserable to deal with the amount of extra bullshit that they tack on top. The vast majority of Korean live service games are like that. Which is why I would avoid any Korean MMO as well, because they take it even further. Or anything with similar mechanics to them, I would avoid entirely. But yeah. Like, that's the thing though, with a lot of these. Even if you spend a little bit, the experience is drastically improved. Because the baseline experience in all of these is awful. Like, it just straight up is pretty awful. Right? And the only times it's not is when the stuff around it can be completely circumvented and avoided. Right? You have the situation now where it's like, okay, fine, what if they made it so they, instead of refreshing the content that they have and resetting it, they just add more stages so you can always come back later. At least then, eventually you can go and do the content. But most gachas don't do that, right? Most of them, again, they want you to force into constant, regular, daily chores and bullshit to deal with, as everything that you're given is drip-fed to you, right? But again, like, it's a huge difference between spending and not. Right? Even like that tiny little bit. It makes a massive difference. Right? But you know, it is what it is. The experience in all of these have always been terrible for free-to-play. Some are far worse than others. Some are far worse than others. You don't get to play the full thing as a free-to-play. It's impossible. That said, with a lot of them, the amount that you do get to play, varies drastically because of how they might go about the cost with them. But yeah, that's how I see it. Like, the reality is a stupid elitism thingy, it doesn't matter. The people that are crazy are the people on the other side that think that they're superior because they're free to play. When they don't realize what the fuck is even going on. Or like, here's the thing, right? The people of Whaling, they actually get... At least they actually get the full complete thing. Whether or not it's good or bad or whatever you want to look at it, at least they're getting the full experience. The free-to-plays are not. They're getting a far more broken experience that is drastically going to be worse in many cases. It is what it is. Right? Like, that's just how it is. At the same time, though, the whole pulling for meta thing in a lot of these games is stupid, too. Because the reality is you're never gonna get your resources back. You're not. Like, you just straight up are never going to get them back. So it's never worth it in that regard. Which is why, honestly, I think, like, with all of these games, don't put any premium currency rewards in the end game. And don't reset the end game either, just add more to it. Just have 0 resets and just add more stages. If people can clear it, great, good for them. If they can't, they can come back later. Or maybe you can use that as a way to entice them where, if you want to go clear it now, here's what you can do. Here's what you can get so that you can do it. I'm actually far more fine with stuff like that than the others. Then you have like PvP stuff, which is its own mess. Like, the reality is in a lot of these things, right, the PvP in the vast majority of these gachas are going to be terrible and just whoever spends more wins, regardless. Right, that's kind of the thing. It's kind of like with actual trading card games as well. Like, surprise, surprise, whoever has the better deck is after the skill thing is met, whoever has the better deck is probably going to win. And how do you get a better deck? You buy more cards. Or you buy the specific cards you need. Right? And have fun opening card packs. Right? You basically instead of doing a gacha without any pity now. Because you can be opening an endless amount of card packs and still not get the card you're looking for. Right? The upcoming turn-based game will not apply character dupes passives. I don't really care, man. Here's the thing. A lot of turn-based games are kind of scuffed. There's a lot of basic things at this point that if you're going to make a turn-based game, you need to have for me. Otherwise, I won't be bothering it with it at all. I will not. A high-speed mode is definitely a huge thing there. But also, with like a lot of these live service ones, like, if it's gonna be a single player one, I do not care. I do not care at all. Right? Especially if you're gonna have like annoying other bullshit to deal with along the way. But yeah, card games are basically gacha games, yes. They are. Right? It's one of the oldest forms of it. And they can be analog, they can be digital, but yeah. They need a skip animation button. They need a skip animation button, a high speed mode as well. Right? Don't give me auto battle, they don't need auto battle, they need a sweep button. If I already cleared something before, do not give me auto battle, just give me a fucking sweep button. I hate auto battle in a lot of these games. I actually really do not like auto battle. Because it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of energy as well. Because now you're just sitting there and waiting for it to clear the thing for you, which you already know is going to clear anyways. And you've probably already cleared it before. So why not just have it clear once and then everything is instant clear after? Like, why not have it that way? I'd rather have fewer, more interesting and more engaging encounters than a bunch of annoying, tedious mash the A button fest or put the thing on auto and come back after like 10 minutes and then go do the same thing again. I'd rather do less stuff than deal with that, because I'm not even actually playing at that point. I'm just sitting there waiting. Right? But also like a high speed mode option. Like, I don't know, give me like the option to like run the animations even in the overworld at 16x speed if I feel like. Because sometimes I want to just speed up everything outside of that too. Right? And like, here's the thing, right? I'm coming from a perspective where I actually just play actual turn-based games with that functionality. Right? Like, that's the thing. Yeah, sometimes I want to Sonic the whole freaking map. Exactly. Right? Why not? But yeah, like, that's the other thing too. But like, they also, with how like dumbed down and like overly simplified and like and downgraded a lot of these games are anyways, these gachas are. I mean, if I can just go play an actual good and interesting one, why the fuck would I play it in a gacha? Right? Like, that's the other thing for me personally. Right? Especially because I do not play games on my phone. And that said, even if I did, like, you know, with a lot of these games, you're gonna have a shit experience as a free-to-play anyways. And when I consider, like, the amount I would spend anyways, it's like, I'll just go buy the actual game for, like, you know, $50, $60 or whatever. Maybe, like, $10, $20 on a sale. Fuck, I'd even rather just go, like, if I have to play it on my phone, fine, I'll go get, like, a fucking cloud gaming subscription. Right, like, cloud gaming services are how much? Like, how much is, like, Boosteroid or whatever? Again, I actually pay for this shit. Let me go check. I actually do have a paid thing here because I use it for multi-boxing. I have played some other stuff on here offline, off stream. But like, yeah, like 749 euros a month, whatever. Like, the thing is, at least this service, if the games you play are on here... Oh, the website's under maintenance. No wonder, can't check it. But like, it's a lot more reasonable even than even buying a game console at this point. Because of how ridiculous the pricing for some of them have become. This is like even then, if I was to subscribe to this like for like several years, you know, but that's its own other thing. But like, yeah, I can also just like straight up play games on here, whatever. Like, you can see the fucking games list. Fuck, if I wanted to play Genshin, I don't even need to install Genshin. I can just play here. Starrail and ZZZ's there. I know Toph is on here because I use it for Toph multi-boxing. But like, yeah, all I need to do is just add my Steam account to my account here. It's the same thing with GeForce Now, right? Like, I can go on GeForce Now. Right? And like, I can go play actual game. You know, how much is GeForce Now? This is what I'm getting, you know. You know, I could go get a thing here. That's the pricing GeForce Now. Honestly, GeForce Now not worth it. It's, more than double the price of the Boosteroid thing I pay for a similar experience. But like, yeah, I'd rather like deal with these freaking subs and just play it there. Yeah, I don't know who the hell those things you're talking about. Free to play after 2 years HSR. The thing is though, like, again, like, the free to play experience in a lot of these games are shit. But like, with like a lot of the turn-based games, they're not exactly difficult to run. And like, I'd rather just go play an actual real like, not dog shit one, then I would play any of these gachas. Because I'm gonna get a way better experience there anyways. I also won't have to deal with any of the live service crap. Right? Like, even if I played on the cloud gaming service, here's the thing. These games, with your latency and everything, is always online anyways with a lot of these gachas. Right? You can't play them offline. Your input latency is tied to your latency to the server. If you have a good enough internet connection, in some cases, a cloud service could give you a better experience than playing locally depending on where you live. I mean, for me, I do mind. I do mind the dog shit experience. Right? And I just cannot really tolerate them. They don't have anything in there to make me willing to tolerate them. Right, with Genshin 4.5 years ago, I was somewhat willing to tolerate with it if it was to give me that Zelda clone I wanted. Surprise, surprise, it never did. And guess what happens? Yeah, I gave up on the game. I coped for like almost 2 years, hoping that maybe they'll do it. But the reality is I should have left a lot sooner, especially with how disastrous Inazuma was. Especially from a story perspective, man. It's like literally about as if you got a book, only kept chapters like 1 and 2, ripped out basically everything, and then left the final chapter in. And that's basically like the Inazuma story. But then like the gameplay around it was just, you know, it doesn't have the thing I was looking for. The 3.0, we went back and checked that on stream. The fucking outside of the awful art conquest that literally put me to sleep on stream. The thing just, again, didn't have what I wanted. I'm never going to get what I want there. Right? And Genshin had so many problems to deal with, like, in the game, that I'm not willing to tolerate. Even if you reduce them, the fact that they were even in there in the first place, I am not willing to tolerate with them. Alright? So, surprise, surprise, a clone comes along with slightly different combat and has the same awful bullshit again there. Just does what AMD likes to do when they praise GPUs comparing to NVIDIA and just slightly undercut them because that's what they do. That's what they did, right? Every single problem I had with Genshin is present in WuWa, and they added even more problems on top. That again, I'm not willing to tolerate with any of them. Right? I would rather... Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. When you consider the cost of a single character copy in some of these games, we're talking like $300 to $400. Okay? Unless the game is giving me some sort of experience that I am not gonna get elsewhere, and I actually think it's worth it for me, I ain't doing that shit with a lot of these ones, man. And the thing is, with the stuff they put out in a lot of these gacha games, they are not worth $300 to $400 for one character copy. If we're going by Hoyo and Kuro's pricing. Right? Because $100 only gets you 50 pulls. When your pennies are like $160, that's over $300. You're spending zero money, but then you're paying with your time. Power creep is whatever, man. The power creep thing is whatever, as long as the game is actually playable and not a dogshit experience to go through. Endgame content in these games is waste of time. It's a massive waste of your time anyways, if you value that. Especially if you're only building up a character specifically to tackle the endgame content. Like, here's the thing, right? Now, let's say you have endgame content here. Let's say you need to use, I don't know, let's say 9 characters for your endgame content, right? Let's say it takes you to pull the character 160 pulls. And let's say those 160 pulls cost 160 premium currency each. Right? So your entire lineup costs 230,000 premium currency. But let's say we're only talking about one specific character here, right? Doesn't really matter. Because we would have divided and put the 9 in here anyways. Let's say the endgame content in question gives you, let's say 700 premium currency for clearing it. Let's say you can do it twice. So we'll actually change it to 1400. We're gonna be nice. Right? Okay. So this is how many times you need to get a perfect clear max reward to break even. Right? Let's say you get the 2 clears every month. Right? So this is 164.57. You can't have 0.57 of a month, so you have to round up to 165. Okay, 165 months. That's your break-even point. How many years is that? Divide that by 12 months in a year? Oh, wow. We're at 13 years and 9 months. 13 years, 9 months, guys. 13 years, 9 months. And this is assuming that character is relevant the entire 13 years, 9 months that you're doing that in. And if you use them in less content, this number goes up even further. Right? This is why I don't like it when these games lock resources behind endgame content, and I think it's stupid. Because then, if that's the only motivation to go and do the content, then I have zero motivation or interest to do it. Unless it's piss easy and I can do without paying attention. Because the reality is, it's not worth my time, it's not worth my resources. And let's say I'm going to go build up that character, right? You know, let's say I have to go and do the drip-fed content. How many materials do you need to build up the character, and how many weeks is that? And like, how many, during those weeks, right? How many sessions of 10 minutes a day am I gonna spend? Right? Versus, what will I get if I just wailed instead? And did something, literally anything else with my time? And once you start looking at it from that perspective, it makes even less sense. But this is what happens when you start to bring numbers and math into the whole thing and try to really calculate the value of your time. When you start to value your time in that sense, it doesn't matter anymore. Right? That's why I do not care for endgame content in the vast majority of these gacha games. I'd rather they just make the actual game interesting. Because it's just not worth it. Right? Like, it's not worth it. But here's the thing, man. I only played Subaru and did the Archon quest, and then after that I completely was just like, fuck no, I'm done. You can find the VOD for the stream if you dig far back enough. But like, I was actually just falling asleep at the end of it. The thing was so bad. But that's its own other thing entirely. But yeah, like, if I'm not gonna be playing it for that reason, like, all the other things, it slowly starts to go away. And again, this is kind of why a lot of creators as well, they have account managers and stuff like that. Because the reality is, they don't want to do it. Because these games are shit. They're not good. Right? They're not. If I'm gonna be going through them, right, and like 99% of my logged in time isn't even me playing the game. Like, what the fuck? Why am I even there? It's like I completely lost the plot. I lost the reason why I was there in the first place. So then I move on. And that's kind of the problem with a lot of them as well. It's why a lot of them have pretty terrible, like, the free-to-play experience is always pretty terrible. Because spending even a little bit significantly reduces that time spent. It significantly reduces that. And when you start looking at your time from a value perspective, and start putting like a value, like an actual dollar amount of value for your time, everything completely shifts and falls apart there. You're mainly because because granted you're deciding to read One Piece or playing Genshin, and then being away for it for so long made you realize how much you didn't really care? Well, yeah, because the reality is, when you're not constantly logging in, right? When they take the bullshit chores away, that's the only reason why you kept logging in the first place. You're not actually playing the fucking game. You're just doing a bunch of chores for 99% of your playtime. If you can even call it playtime. Right, and then when I started looking at things that way, I'm like, yeah, this is not worth it. Why am I even here? Why am I even doing this? And then I leave. Right, that's why I don't bother with the vast majority of these. Because that's just gonna be the cycle every single time. Right? You're gonna have a shit experience unless you're spending money. This is always going to be the case with these. It's just that sometimes that slightly better experience isn't enough to outweigh it all. And for a lot of these games, for me personally, it's never enough. And again, the developers themselves put those problems in there in the first place. That's why I don't bother with the most of them.
Without spending money. When the goal of the company is to get you to spend money, what can the free-to-play players do?
And then you realize you didn't enjoy it at all. Exactly. If you don't enjoy it, you're gone. Right? Like, that's the thing.
To catch up to the spenders. Doro44 is doing a new free-to-play Genshin account for fun, and Mr. Pokey is doing a new free-to-play Honkai Star Rail account named Bob. But the only motherfucker who should be praised for starting content like this is Enviosity.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Listen to this, right? My free-to-play daily routine. Highly recommended. 2.2 million views. My free-to-play management and free-to-play daily routine. Genshin Impact Guide. 750,000 views. $0 spent, 6 months. Free-to-play only. 700,000 views. Being a min-maxer in these games does take a lot of effort. And like, genuinely, if you are a free-to-play min-maxer in one of these games, you are working minimum wage labor hours.
No, it's worse than that. Because at least the people making minimum wage, at least they're getting money for their time.
You're grinding so hard for so little. Most of the time, 10 hours of your grinding is worth less than a $5 top-up. When these games even have the...
Like, this is the reality. When you start valuing your time, this is the reality. And it's the same thing with the endgame content as well. This is the reality. And here's the best part, man. Depending on where you live, this $5 is like 10-20 minutes of your time. If you like to take a flight to Japan, actually, you know what? Let's go to moogold real quick. Let's go look at Japanese yen pricing. They do charge a little bit of a commission on here, but like, whatever. Oh, we don't even need Japanese yen pricing, because it's like, they already usually either do Japanese yen pricing. We're looking at USD. Let's look at Genshin as a nice example. This is $5, right? Blessing of Welkin Moon. $4.49. Actually, we'll go put in my local currency. So my currency is CAD. We just let it refresh. Here we go. $6.42. Okay. What's the minimum wage where I live? $17.20 an hour. So this is you actually working minimum wage now. Let's say you are. 17.2. Divide that by $6.42. Imagine you can buy it almost 3 times. WuWa is always dead, man. The game never has any content. Never has any. Had any. Never will. From an actual gameplay perspective, it's missing the game. It always has been. But that's its own other problem. But like, yeah, like here's the thing here, right? This is the difference of working 1 hour minimum wage. I could get this thing twice. And I immediately have a way better experience in terms of my resource income. Right? That's like how many resources again? That's what, 3,000? 3,000 divided that by 160. Oh wow, that's almost 20 pulls. Less effort. I know. Crazy. Oh wait, times 2 because you can get it twice. Right? And like that's the thing. 10 hours, 10 hours if we actually really value this thing out. It's honestly less than $1. Because again, you don't value your time. Right, let's say again, we did the work for 10 hours instead. We'll go with, we can even go with WuWa numbers now if we want. We have WuWa here too. Which is why, like, free-to-play stuff is completely miserable. Because again, when you consider spending that much time... Yeah, guess what, look. How many hours is this? This is not 10 hours. This is not 10 hours. That's immediate $100 top-up. This is less than 10 hours. I'll tell you that. Right? 128.73. Divide that by 1720. That's 7.5 hours. This is 7.5 hours. I can literally get, like, working minimum wage. I can get this in 7.5 hours. What are you gonna get in 7.5 hours of chores in WuWa, man? You ain't even gonna get $5 worth of crap. Right, much less 10 hours. Like, that's the thing. The free-to-play experience in a lot of these games is miserable. Right, this is not some elitist thing or whatever. You're paying with your time. And if you feel like wasting away your life and your time to do that, be my guest. It's your choice. Right? And this is part of why I'm like, yeah, I can't be bothered with a lot of these. Because that's the reality. The reality is, yeah, it sucks. For a lot of them. Right? It's a different thing if it's like, oh, I can just sweep and instantly clear things and I'm only logged in for like a minute, 2 minutes a day. Maybe. If we're including the loading screen to get logged in. Right? But like, if I'm talking about like actual logged in time. Like a minute a day to just sweep everything and log off. I'm a lot more willing to deal with that. Less than half of what I make off of Twitch. I'll tell you that. I make way more off of Twitch. Although Twitch is a bit more aggressive than YouTube's with the ads. And it's not as easy to get around the ads on Twitch. That's probably why. Also, there's more people actually paying for the sub on Twitch than on YouTube. But like, YouTube doesn't let me give it to you ad-free if you pay for the members on YouTube, so, you know, understandable. That said, I do make more than I spend. Right, like, I do make more. And I even use it to directly pay some bills. You can go figure out that number yourself. But I literally use the money I make to pay my utility bills. So like, in a given month, between 200 to 300. Between 200 to 300 in a given month, roughly. If I combine YouTube and Twitch. Around that combined. But most of it is from Twitch side. Right. But yeah. But like, that's the other thing too, right? If you have to waste your time for like 10 hours to do these ridiculous grinds, you now no longer have the time to go do something else. Because you're stuck doing that. And that's part of why the experience in these is really, really terrible. Because you have to consider your time as well. Right? You only have so much time out there. Would you rather be grinding for an absurd amount of time? Or would you rather use that time to go do something else with your time? Right? Would you rather do something else? Or be doing the insane amount of chores? Right? You know, it's a different thing if you're making money off of it. But for most people, they're not. Right? And when I start looking at it from that perspective, I'm like, you know, these games, they don't really have anything in them to make it actually worth my time. With the vast majority of them. And I'm not willing to tolerate with that. And that's why I don't bother with them. Like, I'll at least give them a look and a try. But me actually playing them long term? Yeah, no, that's not really gonna happen with the vast majority of them. Unless other stuff happens. Unless other things happens, that's just not gonna happen. You would say you're finally at the point where you can, you feel that you can move on and not be trapped in the Hoyos cycle. You will try all gachas just to review them and shit on them at this point? Okay, yeah. There you go. Honestly, here's the thing, man. I have no clue what the hell Azure Promelia is gonna do. We haven't seen much on there. I haven't got my hands on there. I'm extremely skeptical on what goes on there. Same with Ananta. Because I have no idea what direction they're gonna take it. I have no idea how they're gonna actually handle the content in them. Right? We have no idea. So I'm a lot more skeptical. I'll at least try them. But whether or not it goes anywhere is a different story. Like, here's the thing. That's why I'm a lot more worried. If Genshin was just alone in its bubble and nothing else happened to do what they did, you know, I wouldn't be as skeptical. If Wuthering Waves never came out and never existed, I'd probably look at everything in a lot better light. But the reality is, it's literally the same garbage as Genshin. You might have changed the combat a bit and reshuffled some numbers around, you know, and slightly undercut the gacha, but it's still the same garbage at their core. They're still exactly the same, with some aspects made drastically worse, at least in my eyes. And I'm like, and the things that they've made worse, or the other bullshit they have in there, they're so awful that I'm not willing to tolerate with them. I'm never going to be willing to tolerate with them. Like, here's the thing also, Tectum doesn't actually play it actively. He has an account manager. He has other people doing it for him. So he doesn't have the same experience. That's the thing, that's the difference. Tecton's experience is not your experience. It's not my experience. It's him leeching off of whoever his account manager is. And then dealing with that. That's his experience. Which is gonna be vastly different. Because he gets to ignore and avoid a lot of the problems. And that's why he can look at it the way he does. Right? Because he doesn't see it. Out of sight, out of mind. It's out of sight, out of his mind. He's not looking at it, so he's not dealing with it. What do you mean? People just keep bringing it up. It's just a good example. It's it's an example of an exact copy of all the problems, man. It's a perfect example. A lot of them are just gonna keep copying the shit. Because they're gonna try to do what the fuck Hoyo did. And it's not gonna work. But it's just a good example.
ability to function this way, it can foster a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't have the right to do it because he's not dealing with all the stuff in there. That's the reality. He doesn't have to deal with it. Alright, like, if he doesn't have to do the stuff in there, well, he doesn't have to look at it. He doesn't have to deal with it. It's just that simple. Someone else is doing it for him. But yeah, the free-to-play experience in a lot of these is usually pretty terrible. Even like spending a tiny amount goes a long way in changing the experience. It makes a massive difference. Right? But yeah. You're actually excited for WuWa? That's what really makes you upset. The sad thing is it genuinely at the time never been so hyped for a game's launch. Well, it is what it is, man. Right? It's why the PvP thing is so dumb, because it's like, it's literally the exact same garbage as the other thing you're fighting for or against. They're the same. They just changed the combat a bit and put some weird gray filter all over the whole thing. Except until they're trying to take it away to put their weird piss filter and make it look like Genshin now. Just with higher, like high resolution, like models and assets. Which again, it's like, okay, cool, it looks nicer, but it doesn't actually do anything about the game itself. It just looks prettier.
Of frustrated players that will now hold animosity towards other players that didn't have to work as hard as they did, but are achieving the same result.
Yeah, they can do less work to get better results. The thing is though, like, the rewards from this stuff is garbage. Like, if you're already swiping, why the fuck you doing this shit anyways? For your time, it's not worth it. It's not. Your Gacha smack speculate that WuWa will also fail because there's no good endgame. Endgame isn't the problem. Endgame is not the problem. There's no actual game in the first place. Who the fuck cares about endgame? All you're fucking doing is mint picking and farming echoes like crazy, as well as spamming your drip-fed wave plates to go farm character ascension and skill book materials. Skill upgrade materials or whatever. And it's like they make it so you need to do an excessive amount of them. That's all you're doing for 99% of your logged in time. If you don't have an account manager to do it for you. Other than that, it's like, oh, new patch. Maybe you got like 2-3 hours of content of just you going through and pressing the skip button in the story. And then watching the cutscene and then skipping through the rest because the story is probably dog shit anyways. And then you run around the map doing your mint picking again and collecting all the Pepego one-time loot chests. Alright, that's all you're doing. You got less replay value in that than a fucking 3 to 5 minute stage from like any Sonic game. Those will have infinitely more replay value than a fucking open world in these gachas because of how poorly designed they are and just how completely lacking in the void of actual content they are. It's just a checkbox simulator. Oh hey, we have open world, we can use this for marketing. But then the open world itself is literally just completely empty. Right? But yeah. No, I have not tried Wizards, Variants, Daphne. Honestly, a lot of the gachas, I just have no interest in trying them. Straight up, I have no interest. And, with a lot of them. We can go look at it like a trailer for it after if you want. But like the reality is I'm probably not gonna bother. Like I'm not gonna bother. I mean if it's more of a grinding game, even less reasons for me to bother. That makes it even like that gives me even less reasons. If you're not actually gonna have the actual game content, right? If you have less content in them, just let me move on and come back later. I'm gonna look at that a lot more favorably if I don't have to do bullshit the entire time I'm logged in. I've already said before, I will not be playing any Korean MMOs. Fuck no. Fuck no. I mean, here's the thing again with gachas. You can buy power. They literally sell you power. Right? So the experience becomes harder when you make things a lot more miserable. Right? So, like, that's the thing there. Like, I stopped caring because that's just the reality. Unless they were to take away all of that stuff out. Like, here's the thing. Korean games are fine if they're not live service. If they took out the live service aspect, they're fine. It's just that a lot of the problems with their live service Korean games, the way they they set them up, I would rather deal with fucking EA than I would with any Korean live service game. I'm more willing to deal with EA. Because not even EA is as bad as the average Korean live service game. Yeah, you always feel weak? Okay. It's not just Chinese games that have them. I've seen a Korean game that has it too. There are some Korean games that have them too. Right? And then some of them have both the VIP crap and the infinite grind. Again, it's why I don't touch the vast majority of them. If they want me to, like, actually play it genuinely, they have to give me a good enough reason to make me willing to tolerate with their bullshit. Like, the reality is with a lot of the stuff in these games, I'm tolerating them. They have something in them that's I'm at least willing to compromise and tolerate the other problems to play. And like, that's the thing. Okay? I'm tolerating them. That's the word I'm gonna be using to describe it. Tolerating them. Because otherwise, yikes with these games. Like, actual just yikes.
Sometimes a better result than they could ever achieve as a free-to-play. With such a radical difference of spenders in the same community, the amount of money you spend in a gacha game has now become a glorified competitive ranking system, where the less you spend, the higher rank you are. These single-player games have somehow created a sense of superiority in some players. This is a genuine conversation that I've seen. Yo, let's go! I finally cleared floor 12, dude! Oh, that's cool, but didn't you spend money in the game though? So like, what's the point? What?
Yeah, the weird logic for these weird free-to-play PvP thing is ridiculous. You ready for Odin Valhalla Rising? Yeah, I don't care enough for that stuff, man. I ain't dealing with that. Like, fuck no. If I'm gonna have to deal with ridiculous infinite grinds like that, might as well just go work a job instead. You're probably, again, with some of them, depending on the monetization even, you're probably better off actually working the job in whaling instead. With the money you earn. It's probably a far more efficient use of your time, if you were really that crazy. Again, like, when you start to try to put a value for your time, everything shifts. No, I'm not gonna try the Game of Thrones game. I do not care. Also, it's Netmarble. Even more reasons to not bother. It's fucking Netmarble.
What is that? Didn't you spend money on this game too? No, dude. I'm free to play plus. I only buy the monthly pass and the battle pass.
Yeah, you have this weird shit there too. They're weird justifications. Nah, you spent money. Like, bro, what?
Bitch, free to play plus. Being free to play has now become a way of life. The true free-to-play experience, that's a term I've heard a lot these days. I already said this in a recent video where I talked about Mr. Poke's free-to-play account, but there is no such thing as the true free-to-play player experience. In every gacha game community, people have made being free to play a badge of honor. This badge of honor has gone so far that it's become common to invalidate someone's opinion or achievements just because they spent money. No matter how you feel about Mr. Poke's controversial power creep take, it's disingenuous to invalidate his opinion based only on the fact that his account isn't free to play. I don't think you can call an account free to play if you have another group of people doing it for you.
Not only do they have a lot of copium, but they also do not value their time. They don't mind working slave labor probably. They probably don't. The experience is genuinely terrible when you start to look at how their time is spent. Right? Like, the shit's why it's like, eh? Right? It's a bit more different if, like, you're not doing a lot of the stuff in there and you don't care for a lot of the stuff, so you ignore it anyways. But the way they like to show their weird elitism, it is definitely not how it is with them.
I trust the person who was forced to do all the story in HSR, not Mr. Poke. He can't say he's being free to play and not put in all the work the free to play player would. Guys, we gotta stop stretching the definition of a free to play account. Did the account spend money? No? Then no matter what, it is a free-to-play account. Sure, Mr. Poke's free-to-play account is run by account managers, but that doesn't make his account status not free-to-play. It is so pointless to call an account not free-to-play because of this and that. The true conversation that should be happening is if Mr. Poke's account is relatable to most free-to-plays or not. And that's exactly what I tried to explain under this thread. But then, I got destroyed by infallible logic. No. It's not a stretch. Let's say you have some coal to mine in a coal mine, but you send 4 people to do it 24/7 for you instead. Then come out of there squeaky clean, get the money, which is not much, but when you're free to do whatever you want while your 4 coal mining managers did all the dirty work. You know, I've read this comment 10 times, I still don't know what's going on. He's talking about some coal mining, I don't know. Relatable. That's a word I see a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. The free-to-play experience in these games are awful. Unless you have someone else to do this shit for you. So you don't have to see it. Right? And that's why, like, yeah, they're out of touch. That said, what he's able to get with them is still valid because he still got it technically free to play. And it would have been it is what he would have gotten if he wasted his life to do what they were doing. And, like, that's the thing, though. The fact that, like, even they themselves feel the need to have someone do all this shit for them is more reasons of why not to bother. Because once you're at the point where it's like, no, I don't want to do this. I'd rather someone else do all this shit for me so that I can maybe play that 5 minutes of content that they have that I'm actually somewhat interested in. Like, you have to realize just how sad that sounds. Probably not, man. I don't even care anymore. Unless I'm monetizing it in some form, like, no. The same thing, man. Unless I'm making money off of it, the answer is fuck no. Like, if I start looking at going through those things like a job, if I'm not gonna make money off of it, I'm not gonna bother at all. Fuck no. Because, like, as actual games, they're garbage. There is no game. It's just, like, endless amounts of chores. And, like, again, like, with some of the older gachas, here's the thing. A lot of them just had things you could, like, auto-clear. You could sweep to instant clear. Or you could run them in an Android emulator, run them 24/7 in an emulator to go do everything for you. So you could automate the entire process of having your account there without actually playing the thing until you actually wanted to play the game. But you can't do that with these. Right? Because you can't do either of those things. It's like, yeah, I would need an account manager to even, like, do anything. If I even want to, like, actually play anything in there. Right? And it's not like WuWa gives me the option to set the fucking world level all the way down to, like, level 1. So I can completely ignore everything. As well. Because of just, like, the freaking trial units they even give you is extremely miserable to use. With how, like, shit their stats are. And how little damage they do, but that's its own other thing. Like, the actual just experience itself is just not worth it, man. Unless I'm making money off of it, fuck no. Like, I don't even care that much anymore to even do that. Because then I could, like, here's the thing, like, I could do literally anything else. I don't have to. Right? Like, I'm just kind of done with that. Like, we could talk about this shit during the React segments or whatever, but outside of that, like, nah.
These days, right? Having relatability. Let's say you're just like a casual whale, right? And you post your endgame clear somewhere because, I don't know, you like the game, you know, and you cleared with your favorite character.
Yep.
Hold on, new concept. You're having fun? So this is a post that I
like,
found.
That's the other thing too, right? The way that people treat it, it's like, are they even having fun, man? Because I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Their experience in there, I'm like, how is this fun? I'm like, genuinely, how the hell is the absurd grinds and the bullshit they have to deal with fun? Like, how?
On the Acheron mains subreddit from 7 months ago, another MLC refresh, another Acheron 0 turn clear. I give thanks to our goddess Acheron for blessing my MLC with the perfect 0 turn clear. Aventurine was departed before he could even take any action. Glory to her holiness. So this is clearly just someone who loves Acheron, right? Like, he's just having a good time. Glory to her holiness. He's E6 Acheron, E6 Chao Show, E2 Sparkle, E1 Robin. Like, he's clearly just a whale.
No, they're talking. Here's the thing though. They're having fun with the story, not with the grind. I'm talking about the grind bullshit itself. I'm not talking about the story. Take the story out of it. What they're actually doing. Okay? You're trying to, like, add the stretch and bring something that is completely unrelated to the grind and just the story itself there. Even though the story is not part of that. They may like the story and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about the other stuff around it because, surprise, surprise, 99% of your time spent in there is not doing the story. It's the other part. The awful part. This is why a lot of these CCs all have account managers. Because they can't be bothered to deal with it themselves. Because yes, it is awful. It is truly miserable. They don't want to deal with it. And I don't blame them for that. And I don't want to deal with it either. But I also don't want to deal with getting an account manager either. Right? Because I'm also going to feel bad because the account manager is now going to waste their time in their life to deal with the bullshit. And I don't want them doing that. Right? Yeah, you wanted to bang your head against the wall every time you grind an HSR? Yeah, because it sucks. In a lot of these things, it sucks. Just give me a fucking sweep button. Like, I'm okay if it's just like, okay, I beat the content once, give me an instant clear button, and let me just click instant clear. Right? If you're gonna drip feed me resources every day, just let me instant clear them, and then I'll go actually look through and deal with it when I actually want to play it. Instead of having to deal with the annoying chore every fucking day that's drip fed in like 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 minute intervals. I'd rather not do it at all. I have no fucking clue how much they're making as an account manager. I have no fucking clue. Right? But this is part of why it's like, okay, they go spend money on it so they don't have to deal with that as much. At least they're actually enjoying what they're doing, rather than to deal with the fucking annoying, painfully terrible free-to-play experience. Right, unless they were to like move away from that bullshit, you know, with the game's setup, that's its own other situation there. Ain't no way it's paid in parasocial points. Honestly, for some of them it probably is in high hidden. It probably is for some of them paid in parasocial points. It probably is.
And like on his free time, he just kind of has fun with the game, you know? Like, even their language is kind of memey, like, our god is Acheron. And he also posted it in the Acheron mains subreddit, so he's just having a good time.
Yeah,
you know,
the guy's having a good time. Good for him.
Subreddit will, you know, have a sense of humor. All I see is money, money, money. Well, if you don't zero cycle with that team, you're doing something very wrong. Oh my god. This comment has 82 upvotes. The main post is giga downvoted. Are you having fun? You better fucking stop. Stupid. Even if
imagine having fun, man. It's maintenance. What, isn't it under maintenance because patch coming out soon? Patch is soon. It should be under maintenance right now, right? 4.8 still a thing. It's down. But yeah, like, imagine having fun. Crazy concept and idea, I know. Imagine having fun. Right? Imagine. Imagine that's like the whole point of these things, right? Yeah, pay to win people actually get to play the game. Free to plays, they have to work slave labor and still maybe not actually play it. That's the reality. It's not even pay to win anymore, because what are they winning? They're actually just being able to actually play the fucking game. Imagine. I just think Envy, like, people like Envy are just mentally insane. That's just how I see it. He's just mentally insane, man.
If you read his replies, you can kind of just tell he's just trying to play the game, right? Like, well, if you don't just talk about that, you're wrong. Thank goodness I didn't mess that up. I actually want to improve my Firefly team a bit more. Not sure how to improve it further besides getting Eidolons for Harmony MC. Yeah, get downvoted. Give praise to Acheron, for she truly has no equal. Why are people mad? OP is just an Acheron main in body, spirit, and bank account. It's alright, as long as Acheron gets enough love, it's fine. Wait, how come your Harmony MC is not E6? Because I can't find the time to collect all those treasure chests.
Yep.
I'm doing it bits by bits now. Do you have a job? You have
Imagine having a job. Imagine wanting to do other things. Imagine wanting to spend your time doing other things, man, and not slaving away. Right? The guy who made that post, the original poster, he has his priorities straight. The other people replying to him, you know, and this guy here is mocking, they don't.
Too much work to play the game? Yeah, you're getting downvoted, buddy. In these communities, you will not feel welcome as a whale.
Yep.
You don't have to be a whale. You can just be someone who saved a lot for your favorite character and then invested highly into them. But then you gotta be ready for your endgame clears to be called pointless. You have more chances to feel unwelcome just because you spent money, just because your level of investment went over their arbitrary line of what they consider relatable. The thing I find so funny about these people is that they take pride in suffering through the video game. The main thing.
Imagine taking pride in suffering. It's so stupid.
I hear from these players is how much suffering they're going through, how much suffering they had to go through to get a character. And you're not one of us if you didn't suffer like we had to. Listen, man, if grinding the game for 10 extra pulls is suffering to you, why are you even doing the grinding in the first place?
Exactly. If doing that thing is for the extra resources there is suffering to you, why even do it in the first place? Exactly. That is exactly my perspective on it.
At what point would you allow yourself to enjoy the game without being so jaded that other people didn't have to suffer as much as you did? In fact, you didn't have to suffer. You just chose to suffer.
Exactly, he chose to suffer. And like the other thing too is like if you wanted those 10 pulls, man. I mean, there's another way to grind You know, grind for money and then use that instead. You'll have a way better experience doing that.
The self-inflicted unhappiness. These types of gacha players have a
Yeah, there's no offline grind or auto exploration. Here's the thing though, man. Here's the thing, right? Even with that type of stuff in there, it's just the way the stuff is set up, man. Right, because like the thing is in TOF, you don't even need to do it outright at all. You don't even need to bother. Right, you go pull a new unit in TOF, you can use it immediately. Some cases, the content will automatically upgrade and scale it for you, so you can just play the fucking game. Which is, I know, a crazy concept. Right, we don't have to deal with the mid-picking bullshit from these other ones. We don't have to deal with the skill material bullshit. We don't have to deal with the weapon ascension materials if we don't want to. Because at this point, the only thing weapon ascension materials does in TOF for the past like 2 years is let you whack the cactus for more damage. For slightly more damage. Because outside of that, a lot of the content will automatically scale you up anyways. So it doesn't even matter. No, it's not the same. What I'm saying is you can literally pull the latest thing in TOF. So once the server comes back, you can pull for Carrot even at level 0 out of level 200. The actual damage Carrot does is the same at level 0 as it is at level 200. It's the same. The same modifiers. The only difference is your base stats is slightly different. Right? Between level 0 and level 200. Except in Joint Ops, Bygone, and Sequential Phantasm, everything is always set to max level. In Void Abyss, you get inflated stats from all the buffs anyways that drastically outscales any stats you could ever have. So it doesn't even matter there. And in Raids, a lot of the damage in Raids is completely done through mechanics. On the newer ones. Instead of through raw damage. So like your damage again doesn't matter there. Right? So you can straight up pull the thing and use it immediately. Literally the second after you pull. There is barely any difference. And the thing is, the better your gear is, the actual stat difference it decreases drastically. But like, if that wasn't enough, you get resources while pulling anyways. Right? The order gifts literally just straight up gives you weapon upgrade materials. So you can upgrade them at least to like level 150. From just pulling. You'll have enough materials for that. So you don't even need to think about it that way. But then like you do your weeklies, you get even more upgrade materials from there. From the weekly reward thingies or whatever, or events. Right? You don't even like have to do like the actual other shit. You can also just do events and you get a bunch of the weapon upgrade materials there too. Instead of like actually going in to go farm weapon materials. Even though the weapon material thing is also a sweep. You spend 30 of the stamina whatever to sweep it. The vitality. Right? It's like 30 per sweep. Which you can also do. I don't do it because like I already have more than enough anyways. But like yeah.
severe case of free-to-play syndrome. Free-to-play syndrome is when you start believing that you're superior because you didn't spend money, because you beat the game with less resources than the other people. This type of elitism fuels tribalism and will only cause more negativity to be spread around the community. Free-to-play syndrome will make you start believing that only other free-to-plays will understand you, and any account that's above your low standard of what a free-to-play player can achieve is pointless to you. Both are E6. He will destroy any MOC no matter what. That's even more pointless, lol. On the release of Honkai Star Rail, me and my friends all played during the first week. And let me just say, all of us wanted Scylla. We were all doing single pulls off cooldown. The second we hit 160 Stellar Jades, we were all free to play at this point, so we all had the same exact amount of resources. And I eventually hit Pity and got my Scylla at 79 summons. One of us got her pretty early at 46 summons, but this other guy, he is always unlucky in the gacha games. He lost the 50-50 at 83 Pity. But then he proceeded to go all the way up to hard Pity, back up to 81. So this guy spent 50 pulls for his copy. I spent around 80 pulls for my copy. And this guy spent 160 pulls for his copy. The fact that gacha games even allow stuff like this to happen.
Exactly. Also, this shit can happen too.
Inherently removes any consistency in the power.
Yep, there's like no consistency there. And the free-to-play experience between different players is going to be drastically different depending on what goes on there.
Of free-to-play accounts. And the free-to-play experience, full of grinding and struggles people talk about, doesn't really follow a consistent standard anyways. My 100 free-to-play pulls from doing nothing and only collecting dailies can be a limited 5-star and their weapon. Your 120 pulls after 50 hours of grinding can end up being a Chi-Chi. Guys, let's stop putting a badge of honor on being free-to-play. The gacha system makes the free-to-play experience way too inconsistent to be able to slap a label on it. A free account.
Yep. The only other way you can have a free-to-play experience that isn't like this, that is consistent, is when you get literally everything given to you, including the paid shit, which is my Snowbreak accounts experience, when the developers literally just straight up give me everything. But that's not an actual relatable free-to-play experience. That is more closer to someone actually spending money, like I said before.
Account can be 2 times stronger than a spending account if they get luckier. And it happens all the time. It's great to be proud of your own achievements, but let's just enjoy the game together. You know, whether you spent $0 or spent $1,000. No need to go on like a big ego trip because you cleared MLC 1 turn faster or something. And I can assure you that people can understand some elements of the free-to-play experience without being directly free-to-play themselves. Despite all of this, I can definitely say that some...
Yeah, that would make them aware that if they do have the free-to-play syndrome and not play the game. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? Do you count grinding as playing the game? Or do you count grinding as doing a fucking chore? For me, I don't count grinding as actually playing the game. Right? So, like, to me, the experience is just always going to be awful. If that's all I'm doing. Right? Where you walk into a reaction session. Either in Flux. But yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it in a lot of cases, man. Yeah, pulling in DOF stuff is forgiving if you know what you're doing. Even then, when you're doing with that stuff, you always calculate around actually getting the stuff, right? But yeah.
Some of the coolest people I've met on the internet are from gacha games. So it's not all bad, you know, the world is healing. But the amount of money you guys are willing to spend on anime bitches is a little concerning sometimes. But no matter how much you end up wasting on anime bitches, I will be there. Will you? Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Make sure you gamble responsibly. Okay, bye.
Alright, well, you know, we'll give that guy a like. Good video.